There we are. There we are, guys. Apologize for that, guys. I actually, for some reason, had it on mute. I do apologize for that. So, of course, when this airs and it's final or what have you, I'll go ahead and edit it and get it started at this point because for some reason I had it on mute. You guys couldn't hear me. I do apologize for that. But that's what happens, guys, sometimes when you're doing things live. So I apologize for that. But I definitely want to shout out one of the viewers here. Vargas Brown brought that to my attention. So shout outs to you. And let me know, man, if you can hear me now. You should be able to. But like I said, I had the mic muted. Don't know what was going on there, guys. Don't know what I was thinking. Didn't double check. Apologize. But let me know, Vargas, if you're still there, if you can hear me. I'll also type it here in the chat to make sure you guys can hear me now. And a mistake, guys. So I apologize for that. So let's start this over. Let's go ahead and start this over. All right. So let's start this from scratch. Welcome, guys, to another edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and here we are with another episode, guys, doing this live. I'm trying to get them to be live shows all the time if I can do that. In some cases, guys, I'm unable to do so because of, my schedule and things of that nature. A lot of times I have to pre-record them or record them and then put them up on Tuesday. But I'm going to try to continue to do these live when I can. And again, guys, for any of you guys who may have seen it earlier, I will definitely edit that out once I'm done with the live stream. But it's probably about 5 minutes or so, maybe a little less than that. I'm exaggerating, but there was no sound. So I apologize for that, anyone who had to deal with that. But we're starting this over, guys. What we're going to basically be talking about today, guys, is Antonio Brown. We definitely want to talk about the deal with Antonio Brown, how that impacts the Steelers or what have you, as well as Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell getting somewhat of not a deal, but there's some news there in terms of his deal, and there's some room for him to still negotiate. But basically, guys, let's talk about Antonio Brown, all right? Now, Antonio Brown has been a hot topic because we all know before the playoff game against the Patriots, we had the Facebook Live incident, and, people are questioning his commitment to the team and things like that, saying he doesn't want to be a Steeler and, we should get rid of him, et cetera, which I never agreed to that. I never thought that we should get rid of Antonio Brown. That's just not what I think. I did, however, think that the Rooneys are definitely known for letting players go when they need to go. It just is what it is. Now, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I felt confident that Antonio Brown would be a Steeler. He would get signed. We know that the Steelers organization, particularly the Rooneys, they like to get things done as a Steelers in his final year of his contract, right? So they come to an agreement. Now, the reason why I bring up the Facebook Live incident is because I think it had something to possibly do with the guaranteed funds in terms of his deal. So let's dive into that. So Antonio Brown has become the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, right? There's an asterisk on that because the asterisk is the fact that even though averages would make him the highest paid, is roughly 17 million or something like that, his guaranteed money does not. In fact, Antonio Brown is ranked 16th in guaranteed money in the NFL. I believe he's still behind AJ Green and guys like that in terms of wide receivers, right? So the report is that his guaranteed funds are 19 million. Now, why is that significant? Some people would say, well, obviously because anything could happen, injury, things of that nature, cut, whatever the case, he's not guaranteed as much money. All right. I think possibly, I don't know for sure, but I think that could have had, the Facebook incident, some of the, the concerns, that we've heard. And again, we don't know if any of this is the truth. We really don't know. Nobody knows except for the coaches, the Steelers organization and the staff. Those are the only ones who really know. We don't know. But if any of that is true, it possibly could have had an effect on the negotiation. Or it also could have been Antonio Brown realizing what he has at Pittsburgh, as far as his opportunities, his chances to get a ring and things of that nature. He loves the coaching staff. He loves the organization, like he says. You know, maybe he just was like, you know what, at this point in my career, this is where I want to be. I want to end my career as a Steeler. You know, he is what, 27, 28, I believe. You know, you never know. He may not have that much longer to play. Let's be real. It's the NFL. So he may have looked at it like that and didn't necessarily, you know, want to break the bank, so to speak, and guarantee funds. He's probably assuming he's going to be a Steeler. It is what it is. We don't know. But I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't a part of the negotiation. Some of the antics, the Facebook Live situation, that may have been a part of the negotiation on the Steelers' part to, you know, kind of drop him down a few pegs and say, listen, you know, we believe in you. We trust you. We want to give you this money, but just in case, we're not going to give you the high-end guaranteed funds. Very possible, right? So what is this deal? I have my notes here, guys. It's a 4-year, $68 million deal. That's fantastic. You know, like I said, over averages, over time, it makes him the highest paid NFL receiver. However, we have to, you know, keep in mind that it's technically like a 5-year deal because it's a 4-year extension. His current contract doesn't expire until next season. So he is still under contract. We all know that for 2017. So I'm not really sure how those figures are. I can't really remember exactly what he's getting for the remainder, you know, of 2017, the remainder of his contract. I'm really not sure there. So basically what he signed was an extension of 4 years, you know, future contract, so to speak. All right. Now, the funny thing is, we still don't know what's going on with Ben Roethlisberger. I assume that he's going to be back. I do. I don't know that for sure, but I assume that Big Ben is going to be back. You know, I just don't feel like Ben Roethlisberger is going to retire right now. Here's another question. Does Roethlisberger stay for 4 more years? Does he even finish his contract? Who knows? Who knows? And that could be up for a discussion as far as amongst Steelers fans, whether or not we should pay that much for a wide receiver, and we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be. I say yes. Let me give you a couple of reasons. It's Antonio Brown, okay? It's Antonio Brown, arguably the best Steeler receiver that we've ever seen in terms of production, and he's still playing. You know, look at that span that he had of 4 games. We've never seen that. The NFL has never seen that. That was a record. So you have to keep a guy like that regardless of what your quarterback situation is, because a great receiver sometimes can help a struggling or a new or a learning quarterback. So even if Ben Roethlisberger didn't come back, wouldn't you rather have an Antonio Brown to go along with whoever needs to step up in Ben's place and take, you know, help take over the reins or hold the offense down? You definitely need that. Now, some people will say the running back position is more important. Yeah, maybe, but I can't say it's more important. I say it's equally important because you want to have the triple threat on offense. You want a team with a solid quarterback, a solid, outstanding receiver. Let's put the outstanding on top of that, and a very solid running back. That's what you want. The Steelers actually have a superstar running back, a superstar receiver, and a superstar quarterback. So why wouldn't you want to keep that intact? So regardless of what happens with Ben, you have to look at it like that first. And then if Ben doesn't play, or if he only plays a year or so, you got to have a great receiver like Antonio Brown with the veteran, you know, seasoned veteran being able to help this guy along, whoever it may be. All right. So I'm definitely not opposed to the signing of Antonio Brown. I never imagined him going anywhere else. Good to see it get done early. Now let's talk about Le'Veon Bell. So Le'Veon Bell is getting the franchise tag. Now here's some things to notice or to keep in mind about the franchise tag. From what I'm reading, and I believe this is true, you know, in most cases, but from what I've read, that they still have until July the 15th to come to a agreement on a long-term deal with Le'Veon Bell. So the presumption would be that maybe the Steelers wanted to get Antonio Brown done, and that's what we all probably would think. Well, most of us who are into all of the analytics and things like that. You know, you look at some of the other, I'm not even going to say other, because it's not like I'm even on that level. But if you look at the bigger Steelers websites, your SteelersDepot.coms and things like that, you know, you hear these guys say that this is probably what the presumption is going to be. Le'Veon Bell, now that he's tagged, they're going to, buy some time, try to work out a deal with Antonio Brown. Then they'll come back to Le'Veon Bell. Who knew that the transition would be that fast? So now that has happened, I think that's probably what we're going to see. They have until the 15th to negotiate a long-term deal. They'll probably figure out if they can get a deal done. And if they do, there you have it. Everyone's happy. If they don't, and, from what I'm hearing, the Steelers don't have plans to have Le'Veon Bell play on a one-year deal. Sounds like they're going to push for a deal. But if they don't, hey, Le'Veon Bell still wins in the end. You get a $12 million contract for the year. Then you're going to be up for renewal again the next season. Well, if you perform the way that you have, and let's just say there's no injuries that keeps you out of the game for a long extended amount of time, or definitely, hopefully not no suspensions or anything of that nature, then you're still in a room to negotiate. You see what I mean? Or hey, who knows? He could end up like Kirk Cousins, going into another year having a franchise tag. So who knows? But I still think that everyone kind of wins in this scenario because, hey, $12 million, still prove yourself, see what happens. You're still on the team that you want to be on. You're still on a great organization, which is what all these guys say. Really can't complain about that. For the Steelers, it doesn't put them in as much of a compromising position in terms of the cap. So it's a win-win for everyone. However, if we find a way to get these guys signed, then, well, Brown is already signed. But if let's say we get Bell signed as well, that makes things very interesting, guys, because now we got to start thinking about not only next year, when you got other guys coming up for contract renewal, you got to re-sign Stephon Tuitt. You're going to have to re-sign Ryan Shazier. These type of guys, and there's probably some others that's just not coming to my mind right now, but those are the big ones. Definitely got to do that. But let's talk about this season. Now, you hear a lot of us say, including myself, we want to keep Lawrence Timmons. Why not? His contract is up. How much is he worth? How much does he want? Now that Brown is signed, and if we sign Bell, or even with that franchise tag, which we knew that was going to happen either way, but if he gets signed, depending on what the deal is and what the cap space situation would be at that point, it makes it tougher to sign a Lawrence Timmons if he's asking for not even big money, but decent, deserving money. You know what I mean? Because they've already said they're probably going to let him test free agency, right? So it gets dicey, man, because there's a couple players on the team that we probably want back. Even a D'Angelo Williams. But now it's going to, definitely going to be based on what these guys want, what they think they need, what their agents think they need, what the Steelers think they can give. It makes it a lot more dicey. And let's not forget, even again, there's another player from next year. Martavis Bryant comes back this season, has his head on straight, balls out. Guess who has to be signed again? We have to re-sign him. That's going to be interesting. So the cap situation could be a little dicey, man, for the next couple of years. It's good to see that we do have some of these guys, we're getting the important guys signed and things like that. And again, we don't know what's going to happen with Ben Roethlisberger. So it's a very interesting topic, man. But definitely let me look here in the chat, man, and see if some of you guys are saying, never thought I'd see a big of a Steelers fan like me. Love the vids. Appreciate that, man. I am a diehard Steelers fan, as you can see. I mean, I'm everyday Steelers. If I wanted to, every day I could have on Steelers gear. That's realistically. But I appreciate you checking me out, man. You said the cap situation, you think we bringing back Timmons? Yeah, well, it's funny. I kind of just mentioned that. So I'm late on the chat. Sorry, guys. But, yeah, I don't know. I really think that they want to. I really think that Timmons, he showed this past season, that he still has some in the tank to help us. I also believe we do need some help in the inside. Let's just be honest. We got Vince Williams, which is a valuable, backup, which to me, I think Vince Williams could be a starter. A little younger than Timmons, a little faster, plays like Timmons, hard hitter, but who's behind him? You know, Metakevich, we don't know exactly what he's going to be, but you understand what I'm saying? So I still feel like even with having a decent, a serviceable, no, I'm not even going to say serviceable, even having a guy in Vince Williams that I think could step right in and be Lawrence Timmons, to be fair, at this point, they're probably on the same level. Timmons in his heyday, better than Williams, yes. But right now, Williams is going to give you the same thing. Think about those games when Williams had to play for Shazier. I mean, it was games where he recorded 15 tackles, 13 tackles. He was all over the place. But we still need depth in that position. I want Timmons back. But again, if Bell gets a long-term deal as well, or even with the deal being done with Brown, it changes the cap number, and I just don't know, man. It's going to depend on what Timmons is willing to accept. What else are you guys saying here? Yeah, appreciate it, Cody. You just said basically the same thing I said. But yeah, man, it's going to be very interesting, guys. It's going to be very interesting to see how this thing plays out. But primarily, man, I just wanted to at least talk about the fact that I'm glad we got Brown done, man, because not only does it show good faith as far as football, but it also shows that maybe what everyone was saying, the outside noise, is not necessarily true. The Steelers obviously have value, or they put value on Antonio Brown. They want him there. It makes me feel like a guy like Antonio Brown gets it. You know, he's flamboyant at times, yes. You know, and like they always say, wide receivers are divas, whatever y'all want to call them. Listen, that's what he is. He's going to be Antonio Brown, but I think he is a smart guy. I really don't think he meant any disservice to the Steelers or to Coach Tomlin by doing the Facebook Live video. I didn't like it because, again, when you're live, you just never know what's going to come out. It's the only thing I didn't like. I had no problem with him recording. For us Steeler fans, we know he does his little what it is segment all the time. That's AB. You know, a lot of the players, they on the plane going home, they're doing Instagram Live and all that. It is what it is. My only problem was I didn't like the fact that he was doing a video of that nature and Coach didn't know, or even other players, Ben, other guys didn't even know. That was the part that was kind of bad. But, you know, finding out that he had to deal with Facebook, you understand in that situation. And like I said, I think Antonio Brown is a level-headed guy. He does his show in song and dance and all that, but he's a level-headed guy. He's smart. I think he took heed to what Tomlin had to say to him, I'm sure, the Rooneys. And it is what it is. So it's happy to get that. I'm happy to get that past us. Because that was more distraction. People saying, oh, what's going to happen with Brown? Now we answered that very quickly. Same thing, with Le'Veon Bell. We don't know yet, but I have a feeling that what we're speculating, I think they're going to try to get a deal done if they can. If not, he plays under the tag. It is what it is. And there you have it. So other than that, guys, I don't have much more to talk about today. I told you I want to try to break up different segments as news come out. We get closer to the Combine, which is coming up here this week, I believe. The Combine is coming. So we'll start talking about some things. You know, some of the prospects that guys are saying that Steelers could go after. We'll look at these guys, see how they performed in the Combine, and then maybe that's what we'll talk about next week. Again, man, I'm keeping my eye on guys like Taco Charlton, Takarius McKinley, these guys, Hassan Reddick. These are the guys I'm really looking at because I still think the Steelers need to go edge rusher first. Edge rusher / linebacker, obviously, because of our scheme, the 3-4. You might not necessarily find a pass rushing defensive end. You could, because Tuitt is kind of like that, as well as Hayward, but they're not legit pass rushers. They're just powerful guys that are agile, especially Tuitt, that can get to the quarterback. That's a plus, in my opinion, in the 3-4 when your DNs can get pressure. That's a huge plus. But y'all know how the Steelers defense is built. We get pressure with our linebackers via the nickel when they're on the line. Like Bud Dupree is definitely going to be special, but we need somebody else opposite of James Harrison. And again, is James Harrison going to come back? How much is he going to accept? So there's all of these questions that are still not answered. But we definitely need an edge rusher. We need more guys that can get to the quarterback without us having to blitz. Match somebody else up in the nickel package, sub package with a Bud Dupree, and that's why I'm thinking Charlton, Taco, my man Taco, Hassan Reddick, Karis McKinley. It's other guys, but these are the guys that are just jumping off the radar for me right now. It's some other guys, and like I said, once we see them perform in the combine, be a different story. Here's another thing before I wrap up. Once we notice and once we see who the Steelers bring in pre-draft visit, then we can start narrowing things down, because y'all know the tradition. The Steelers a lot of times pick guys from those pre-draft visits, unless there's just an outstanding guy that just didn't happen to come visit that's there, and they have to they'll do that. But that's when we'll be able to start really narrowing down, okay, this is who they're going to draft, this is who they'll select, blah, blah, and things of that nature. But we got plenty to talk about, guys, as we wait for the season to start. I appreciate everyone who joined in live. And I'm going to try to get this be more consistent and give you guys a time. It's probably going to be like noon on Tuesdays for the most part, because that's when I can do it, when I am, working from home on those days. Yes, guys, I have a full-time job like the rest of you. So, yeah, we'll keep it at that. It'll probably be like noon. Sometimes I may start a little later. Y'all knows how it works. Even Steelers.com does it. Even when they do the press conferences, you there at 12, but then it don't start till like 12:10 or whatever. So, it is what it is. But other than that, if I can't, it'll be like the normal format. We'll do a recorded version. But I really like this, man. And I like for you guys to definitely, chime in during the show. And even if one of you guys want to come in, and I see my boy Tony here. Appreciate you, Tony. What's up, man? And if you guys ever want to be a part of it, we'll figure out how to get that done as well. But that's all I got today, man. So, again, I apologize for you guys who saw the fiasco in the beginning where I was just talking and there was no sound. Once this is saved, I'll go edit that out so, future viewers won't have to deal with that nonsense. But, all right, guys, that's going to do it. I don't have the terrible towel with me today. It's in the closet. Apologize for that, but y'all know what it is. It's always Steelers. Steelers everything. And that's how we do. Let's go Steeler Nation. I'll see you guys next week. Hope you guys have a great week. Peace.